And here we are once again on Squares of the Round Table. So glad that you're back here with us this week. And here we are with Jeff.
Hello.
And Mike.
Greetings.
And with all of you out there, we're so happy to be back once again. And
yes, all five of you.
Oh, yes, and happy to be back here with more hilarity, more stories, more news of the square, more of everything that you could ever want in a podcast. Damn it, just hang around because we got so much cool shit coming after you. So, hey, boys, starting off with Jeff, how was your week?
Week was good. Week was not bad. I learned new things this week. I learned that apparently we defended the airports in 1776.
Yeah, I had heard about that.
Yeah, I've learned about history that I had never even knew existed, because it didn't.
It's all in his mind. It's all in his mind.
Yeah, well, like I said, it's and the best is it's like to see all the stuff that has come out, like all the different memes and all the different stuff, and it's just like
it's a hailstorm.
There's some good stuff. I'm sorry.
There's
there's some funny stuff. Like the one where George Washington's made up Maverick from Top Gun. I'm okay. Absolutely. What else?
I like the one where you have the redcoats going onto British Airways.
Yeah, really.
As they arrived in O'Hare.
Yeah, or they found the People Mover, and they had somebody recreate the whole Washington crossing the Delaware thing with the People Mover moving them across the way. I was like, there's some good stuff. There's some people
I like the one with the airplanes in the background.
Yeah.
I like the one with the airplanes in the background. That's so good.
Yeah. This one. War historians, how did the British not see you cross the Delaware? George Washington. Because I was inverted.
He wasn't Yankee Doodle Dandy. He was playing Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone.
Yeah, apparently.
Just doing something, man. Do you think that maybe he just kind of wasn't reading the prompter correctly, or
from what I'm told, the prompter failed, so he was kind of shooting from the hip. So
yep.
I think he meant to say seaports or something, and it just came out as airports. I don't know what I didn't hear the whole thing, but that's created many good memes this weekend.
Yes, phenomenally. This was a weekend where I seemed like I ended up seeing, whether it was in the theaters or at home or with friends, where it ended up being I saw this movie, I saw that movie kind of weekend. So I got a few things about movies, and then otherwise it was really kind of a quiet weekend for me. I didn't have a lot. Did you guys end up barbecuing and stuff like that, or what did you guys end up doing?
Yeah, I barbecued.
Did you?
I stayed in. I didn't do a lot for the 4th of July because it was too damn hot out.
Uh-huh.
And just other than just go hang around at Electric Jungle on Friday, which is not my usual day, which was really cool. But
why was it cool?
Well, because it's always cool to be at the Electric Jungle. It's always a great time.
Why?
Why? Because it is a record store, unlike record stores. It's more like a...
Does it serve bacon?
No, it doesn't serve bacon. No. But again, it's different than any other record store.
That would make it different if it served bacon.
If it served bacon, you would think it would be different if it served bacon.
Yes.
Interesting. I'll have to take that up with John. Hey, John, our place would be more interesting than it is if we served bacon. That would be one. How would we serve the bacon? Should we have those wrapped around hot dogs? Or, but that would make it a franchisee. Or is a franchisee something done with other ingredients? I don't know. Elucidate me, people.
Huh?
International House of Pancakes and Electric Jungle.
Okay.
Could be good. All right. So, aside from that, okay, Jeff, what else did you get to do?
Like I said, I got a chance to see a couple of things. I figured some of them we would talk about once we got past this portion. So I don't know who did barbecuing, who did what on the holiday weekend. I thought,
okay, well, I just hung out close to home, saw my parents on Saturday, which was really good, and Sunday did the Layback Wayback Lounge, like I do every first Sunday of the month. Which next month we're doing Layback Wayback, but we're going out west. We're doing country and western.
Great.
That's okay. So we'll count on Jeff being there.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, you're 100% right.
Never, no. That is not Jeff's. That is not Jeff's thing. Not whatsoever.
We got two types of music: country and western. Yeehaw!
Yeehaw! Okay, well, Mike, what did you do besides put some burgers and dogs on the grill?
I'm starting to get curmudgeon-y in my old age. I'm starting to not like fireworks, I think. I've always kind of indifferent to them. I have this perfect memory of my favorite summer of all time was the summer I graduated high school. Let's go back in time to 1989. Mike, a young impressionable Mike, has graduated from high school and he's doing nothing all fucking summer. He's just going to watch Batman in the theater. He's going to eat Taco Bell Cinnamon Twists and he's going to play Nintendo with his friends. For the 4th of July, he's going to.
Can we do that next weekend?
Yeah, sure.
Jesus, that sounds good.
Fun.
For the 4th of July, we watched the fireworks over our heads because we watched it over the lake. Because a friend of mine worked at a rental place, so he rented a rowboat, so we watched the fireworks overhead. But it was good times, But now, fast forward, and Mike's gotten a little older and a little curmudgeon-y, and he says, you guys doing your fireworks, your loud noises, you're scaring my cat. So, I got to see some of my local fireworks from my driveway. When I was little, we were able to see most of the fireworks display from our street, but now the trees have gotten too tall. So, so now I can only see about half. But it's still, with taxpayer money, so I'm still paying for it. But anyway, I got to see some fireworks and watched a little bit of the thing they do from DC where they have all the celebrities.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Play the Boston, the orchestra and playing the Battle Hymn of the Republic and all that. That's super cool. Watched some of that and did some barbecuing. Yeah, saw Spider-Man Far From Home. We'll talk more about that later. So there will be spoilers ahead. And did some gaming Sunday. Sunday was really nice. That was the day we're actually barbecuing because I worked all day 4th of July. I really didn't do much on the actual 4th. Didn't even barbecue. We just had some fried chicken brought to the house. And
how many people come in on the 4th of July, and what do they come to bother you about?
Just a couple of my aunts and uncles. And they just they hang out just to say how you doing.
At the hardware store.
Oh, the hardware store. Oh, at the hardware store. Oh.
You have any duct tape because I blew off my fingers.
Anything like that?
No, we saw a lot of people getting their propane tanks filled, so they be sure they have lots of fuel for their barbecues. Some people even buy actual whole grills because our store was soliciting free assembly and delivery. So our lawn and garden kids were super busy with the grills. And some patio furniture too, although some of the storms, it was this last week has been crazy with weather. We lost part of our lilac bush in the back because the storm had knocked over and split the tree and kind of had to put it up. But our illustrious mayor decided to do free brush pickups, so the entire city cut half their brushes, half their bushes down, and put it all in the front of their houses. So we got some of those bushes taken care of as far as trimmed and all that. Took care of that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
The hardware store. Hardware store. Well, go ahead, Jeff.
I do have a hardware store story now that I'm thinking about it from this week.
Excellent.
So I went to the hardware store. I went to go make some keys. I walk up and I hand a guy. I go, hey, I need some keys. And he looks at me and he goes, Do you go to the big and tall store? I'm like, huh? He goes, do you go to the big and tall store? I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, yeah, I sell shirts for big and tall. And I'm like, dude, I just want keys. And he's like, oh, I'm like, and he's like, no, I sell shirts. I'm like, oh, so Ace sells big and tall shirts now. He's like, oh, no. I used to own a big and tall shop in the city, and I still sell these things.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh.
So he's trying to make some money on the side.
Right. But I'm like, okay, can I just get my keys? I'm kind of in a hurry. I'm like, and he's like, oh, yeah, sure. And then he's like, as I'm getting, like, he's doing the keys, he's like, I got pocket tees. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude, I just want keys.
Did he have a business card to give you?
No, he didn't. And then I'm like, oh, is your stuff online? Oh, no, it isn't. So I gave him my email address, and he's supposed to send me stuff. And I think he did, but I didn't even look at it because I gave him my backup email. Right. So I haven't even looked at it. But I'm like, what the hell? I just wanted keys. I didn't go to Ace for freaking. It's like could you imagine if I like walked into like Big and Tall and they said, "Hey, do you need keys?" I mean, that doesn't happen. Why does it happen in River? What? Dude, I don't need. I'm here for keys. I am, unless I got Ace points that I can use for Big and Tall. Then we're talking. Not now.
As you can see, I'm wearing a shirt currently, so I don't need one.
Right.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware keys.
Well, the funny part is I told somebody, and they're like, so how much were the shirts? I'm like, are you kidding me?
The dude was just trying to make some money on the side for the holiday.
I guess. I don't know. All I know is I was just like sitting there and I'm like, why does this shit happen to me? I just want some damn keys.
Because it's easy?
I guess. Do I just have that look on my face like, hey, let's fuck with them today?
Well, I think it's a big person thing because I get that a lot too where people will just come walk right up to me thinking that I'm this big friendly guy for some strange reason that they could go ahead and ask me things or just walk up and say, hey, you're like,
well, half the reason I'm asking this is it like, Mike, is it normal for people at the hardware store to have a side hustle?
No.
Okay.
Unless, like, people who work at the paint department, sometimes they'll know somebody or they are somebody that can paint, like, do painting on the side. Like, a lot of people ask for that, be like, hey, I want to buy some paint. You know anybody who can paint this for me?
Right.
But usually they don't solicit that. No.
But usually they're not like sitting there going, hey, I got big and tall shirts to sell you.
You should try my tall and fat stores. No offense.
Yeah.
I even got a pad with different colors. Check it out.
Yeah. Hey, I know you make those obnoxious commercials. You're big and fat. Yeah, well, you're short and ugly. Give me my pen back.
And I don't want your damn shirt.
Where's a pen? Who's got a pen? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off on the hardware.
I'm sorry that you got a little sales pitch there from.
Well, it's not so much sales pitch. It's like I'm at the hardware store.
Not necessarily the views of all hardware stores and employees.
Right. Well, I mean, that's why when you were starting to talk about a hardware store, it clicked in my mind. I'm like, I gotta ask Mike about this. Because it's not normal. All I wanted was freaking keys.
Yeah, but what else? I finally got all the wires and cables so I can start putting in electric lights in my big Transformers display. I'm going to start that at the end of the month. That's going to be like several days. That's going to maybe start that before, right by vacation at the end of the month.
Will it be like a Michael Bay display or no?
I have one shelf for the stuff for the live action movies.
Okay.
Just one shelf. The rest is all like early stuff. But that's coming later in the month. So I'm just looking forward to just other stuff. I've got 3 weeks here before my vacation starts, and I'm covering another person's vacation. So it's going to be like nonstop. I'll be working like 10 days in a row here before my vacation starts.
Well,
But other than that, it's been good. I had a gaming night. A buddy of mine came over, and we just did a game. We're having trouble with with our normal game night schedules because like one guy can show up, but the other one can't. So that's frustrating. I'm sure you know what that's about.
Yeah. No, that happens a lot. It's like, hey, let's all game. I'm good for Monday. I'm good for Friday. I'm good for Wednesday. And you're like, oh, come on. Can't
I
we
have
just
this
figure
to do
this
Wednesday.
out?
Oh, no, this week is out. Well, maybe
Yeah.
next week is bad. All right, then we try and set a day for all three of us can sit and game, and it's difficult.
Yeah. I saw something online where it was like, who are we? Gamers. What do we want to do? Game. When do we want a game? Wednesday. No, Wednesday's bad for me. How about Thursday? No, Thursday's not good
Okay, how
for
about
me.
Saturday? No, Saturday after work.
No, I can't work Saturday. It's like sometimes we're like trying to find people. It's like, hey, let's game. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. No. And then it turns into what do you want to game? Because it's like, oh, I want to play this, and you're like, oh, anything but that.
Or people like, oh, that's too long. Or,
Yes.
So it has to be at my house so I have extra time to set up. Or whatever.
I don't know enough about that game. Can we play this game instead?
I watched a YouTube video. I don't think I'm gonna. No, it's too complicated for me, or whatever. That's another thing too, is that people are going to the internet instead of like reading the actual book on how to play the game. They'll go to YouTube and watch a video on how to learn how to play a game.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't cover everything, so then people have questions, and we were like, well, is the card says do this. But this rule book, check the rules, and this one's like, anyway.
Oh, yeah,
game
then
night,
there's
so
the
you'd
rules
think
lawyer.
that the summer months would be easier for us to find time for all of us to game. Nope. It's just like winter and all the other 3 seasons. Nope. We just hard to find time to game.
No,
Yeah,
I
just
think in
life
the summer
happens.
it's worse. I think in the summer it's worse because you want to go out and do stuff, and because you can get outside and you can go places and do things and that kind of thing. I think sometimes it's worse in the summer because, I trust me, I get it. And then you get exactly what you're talking about. You get the rules lawyer people where it's like, well, hold on, let me go look at the book. I don't think you can do that. Or you're like, oh, jeez, come on. Or then it's like, okay, then you get the really uber competitive people. Do you get that when you play?
Not really. We don't have those.
Thank God for you.
We're just kind of easygoing, but one of us is a little more easygoing, whereas he doesn't even want to play anything that's competitive. It has to be a co-op game, because otherwise we start, then sometimes tensions kind of flare up a little bit. But I mean, we can still like try to defeat the main bad guy together. Right. Then you can add up like victory points and see who came out on top anyway. But there's other games where it's like, "Aha! I'm the ultimate winner in the universe." Haha. We can't have that a lot of times. So anyway,
I used to play some of those games, and then I ran into certain people at conventions.
Oh yeah.
And that's like, after that, I was like, forget it. I'm not playing board games again.
Yeah, especially if they're strangers, and sometimes they, like, if you're like, you go to like a comic store or whatever, and you'd go for like a regular meetup where you'd play the game, and especially if it's a collectible card game, that'd be all like, oh no. And then this guy spent $100 on this promo card that he plays.
Yep.
And once he plays it, it pretty much like seals the deal every time for him. And
and allow me to give Ivan better perspective. I am pulling out my specific promo silver white unicorn, and it does 55 points of damage to everyone in the room. And then
including the store owner.
Right, including the store owner, and then I get to take everybody else's cards.
So basically one card obliterates the entire game.
Pretty much, you have to make my car payment now because of this card here.
Yeah, this card. Yeah, I have this other card which says you have to pay for my health insurance for like 5 years.
Okay, I guess you win. Womp
Yeah.
womp.
Okay,
You know
yeah.
what? Now that I'm thinking about that, that should be a game where it's like
Pay my
I
bills,
pull
bitch.
out. Yeah, pay my bills, bitch.
There you can play my bill, bitch.
Pay
That
my
could be
bills,
good.
bitch. The game.
You know what? Let me tell you something. That might work.
That could be good. That could be good.
That could be really
I was
good.
thinking about the other day.
I like that. Pay my
I was
bills,
thinking about that
bitch.
the other day. I forget which one it was. The James Bond movie where they had the electronic game where like playing World
Oh,
Domination.
yeah.
And Sean Connery be all like, "Could we play one last game for the rest of the world, win or lose?" And that was one where like you're pressing the game, they're firing the missiles or whatever, and it's the controllers are shocking the dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember
that'd
that
be like
movie.
with that, but with your electric bill or your car payment.
Yeah.
We could do that.
Well, you know, you could get those little, like when you go to the hospital and they test your blood pressure. You know how they put those little clip-ons. Now, can you could make it to where it actually shocks you if you if you end up doing the right thing or the wrong thing?
You know what we need? We need a card where you pull it out and you automatically can take like a Nerf sword and smash it upside somebody's head. That card needs to exist.
The boot.
Yeah.
Boot to the head.
Yeah,
Boot
like
to
a
the
boot to
head
the
card.
head card. Yep, absolutely.
Yes, a boot to the head card.
You know, where it definitely has to be a Nerf weapon. But
Yes,
yeah,
no. Like a boot, an actual boot to the head.
Maybe those like rubber dodgeballs we used in middle school.
Oh no, those can be painful.
Those hurt.
Those can hurt. I'm talking about like one of those like one of those foam jousting sticks kind of thing. So you could like just take it and bap, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you know it's not going to hurt, but at the same time, like, ow, hey, what the hell?
Yeah, homie, don't play that. Blah!
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, it's funny how sometimes the people who play card games sound exactly like sound like comic book guy from The Simpsons.
Yeah,
it's like it's like, and there are people who are at comic conventions, and the reason why that comic book guy in The Simpsons works is because there literally are people like that.
And they don't realize that they're being that guy.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh, I've been in panels where it's like, well, in volume 3 of issue 55 on page 32, it says this. And you're looking at it and you're like, and as a kid, it's like, ooh, that's impressive. As you get older, you're like,
shut the fuck up.
You're like, dude, do you have a life?
Yeah.
Do you have a life?
Exactly.
Who gives a shit?
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
It's like
Well, the people are just passionate about their gaming. That's all. That's why they call it fanaticism.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But,
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. But
No, I mean, everybody needs a release in something, and games give that release to certain people. Sometimes they become very impassioned. Sometimes they end up getting full of themselves. They get a big fat head, and then they become the game.
Just like with any hobby. Ivan, you see it with records. Jeff, you see it with gaming. I see it with toys. It just is how it is.
Oh, I see you see with all kinds of stuff. Absolutely.
Well, if you collect, or if you are in something that engages many people in one place, that comes up a lot. You always get the guy coming into the record stores, and they're like, oh, well, this isn't an original copy. Well, why isn't it an original copy? Well, the shade of yellow on the label and bust on the letters is not correct. There should be 3 bars underneath the bottom of the label and not 4. This is an Argentine import, not from New Mexico. Okay? The stamp is not correct. It is not a Delta stamp. It's a Newmark stamp. And you're like, the fuck?
You know what's even funnier is when you do it. Like when we sold the house, we did like one of these sales, and people would come through and look at stuff. And it was funny. A friend of mine was telling me that they were looking at one of these. I had this like carrying box for toys, and it had like DC characters on it. It had to be something from the 70s. And it was funny because there were a couple people looking at this thing, and she overheard somebody sit there and say, "Oh, boxes like this, they can go for somewhere in the neighborhood of $500-$600. And she said, "Oh, really?" And he goes, "Yeah." He said, "Except this box. This box has this problem and this problem and this problem and this problem." and she goes, "Well, how much do you think you can get for it right now?" And I'm like, $2. Well, no, it's
sad
like,
trombone.
It's not even that. It's like, how does it go from $600 to $2?
Flatted fifth, straight across.
Right. It's like it went from $600 to $2, and then you're like, and then you know the worst part is, that person's going to buy it for $2, fix it up, and then sell it for like $600.
Oh, well, then you get those people that think they've got the very best thing in the world, but people don't realize when people collect, you're looking for the rare article, not for the article that there are millions of copies of.
I'll give my favorite is I'm telling you right now.
What's that?
And that's the other thing. I'm telling you, it was like at some of those places, you should have like a Wi-Fi blocker. Like during those house sales and stuff like that.
I've had that shit happen.
Right. Oh yeah, where they're on.
Where people are on the phones.
They go right to the internet.
They're on their phones and they're checking their internet to see how much it's going for. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not selling it for you for that. I know what it's on the internet. I looked it up too.
Well, see, that's why we don't allow the phones to be over at Electric Jungle, because that's what they do. They'll walk in, they'll look at the album, and then the first thing they do, they go to Discogs or eBay or SD or a half a dozen other places to try to go ahead and shrink the already existing and cheap price down on the product that we're trying to sell.
Yeah.
It's craziness.
Yeah, it's happened to me. It shows,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you get the situation where, oh, man, I have got a complete set of Elvis Presley. And you're like, so? Well, don't you understand? These are all mint first pressing Presley. So? Do you got the interview on gold vinyl? What do you mean? That's the $3,000-$4,000 one everybody's looking for. All of this? Not so much. So,
okay, that's you just taking your you're taking your thing out and go on the table.
Well, see, and that's the thing. And I pulled the pin on it, and the hand grenade goes off, and they're like, "Well, fuck you then. I'm gonna go take this elsewhere. I know what my shit's worth. Fuck you then." And then they go off. You look at them, and okay, good luck with that.
Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's crazy.
It's very common stuff.
In
this day and age with KOs and reissues.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's been driven down. Everything that was original has been brought down because of the fact there are knockoffs of it everywhere. There are bootlegs of it everywhere. There are things. The really rare stuff gets harder and harder to find with every year that passes.
Yeah, and I guess the moral of this story is that every fandom is inhabited by people, and some of those people are just not good people.
Turds.
Yeah.
Stupid.
So well.
Turds.
So yeah, I had a good 4th. I had a good weekend.
Ivan,
how was your 4th of July weekend?
Well, my 4th of July weekend basically was around the house. Didn't go out very much. Spent the 4th of July indoors. We watched the fireworks on television, which of course then followed by the news of all the people who got stabbed and were trampled on after the fireworks.
Oh, I heard that whole that mayhem at Navy Pier.
That was sad.
It's funny. I was down
people
there for
I was down there for Memorial Day. It wasn't that bad, and I know it was packed that day on that Saturday.
I guess the heat kind of brings the worst out in some people. And
when somebody throws firecrackers on the ground and someone yells "gun,"
oh God, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah,
that will do it.
That caused a few people to get hurt, unfortunately.
And, we stayed away from Navy Pier. We instead went to go see Toy Story 4 on the 4th of July, and we went to Pillows on the 4th of July.
Mm.
Okay, so Ivan.
And so then afterwards, Friday, just kind of, went to the Electric Jungle and hung around the Electric Jungle. Saturday, went to go to my mom and dad's. Hung out with them for a bit. And then Sunday, we did the Layback Wayback Lounge, which it wasn't really packed, but, before my shift started at 3 o'clock, we had the movie Independence Day playing, which was probably the most I've ever watched of.
Oh, God. I remember when that came out, it was at 96, I think it was?
Yeah.
Yeah, my friends and I were trying to see it. It was 96 or 97, I don't remember. But my friends and I were trying to see it that night. We couldn't see it. So we had to see that crappy John Travolta movie where he gets the great mental powers or something. I forget the name of it. It was just dumb.
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly. It's here and gone. So
was it Face Off or something?
No, it was a different one.
No, I thought that wasn't Face Off.
Yeah, Independence Day it doesn't hold up. It's a little campy.
No, that one speech is the whole movie.
Yeah,
it's not about the one by the president.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That was a heartfelt moment when he went into all that. It made you go hooray because you only wish that a real president sounded it.
Yeah.
Well, this took place during the 90s, and I remember there was some controversy over whether people cheered when the White House got destroyed, because some people disagreed with our sitting president. I remember there's some controversy over that when that happened, but no, the Independence Day is like, aside from Randy Quaid being the guy who's saves the day.
Yeah, who goes up in there? Hello!
and Jeff Goldblum, pretty much being Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
And Will Smith being Will Smith.
Yeah. Yeah, Will Smith. That's when Will Smith started getting paid. That's the movie that
Welcome
got
to
Will
Earth.
Smith got like $20 million a movie from that point on or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no. There was a while where it was like 4th of July, it's Big Willie style time, and yeah. You know what? I still do like watching that movie for all the wrong reasons. And and I'll be honest with you, that moment where, it's like, especially if I know that one speech is coming up, because that's like maybe one of the best speeches in all of movies, in the history of movies. That might be that's in the top. That's if there was like a team picture, that's in it. At least in my opinion, because that thing is great.
And I like the bit role Brent Spiner had as the scientist guy.
Yeah. Hey, did you see the sequel, the one like 20 years later?
No.
It's bad. It's not good.
No.
I will tell you this right now, it's not good. But it's if you find it on FX, which is where I found it, I don't know why I was watching. Yeah.
You can see it for free, and you can MST it after a while. Yeah, that'd be great.
I did pay to rent it. It wasn't nearly. Let me say this: it was okay. It wasn't great. It's not like I sat there and wanted to stab my eyes out with a fork watching it. Okay, I actually was like, it plays off kind of like the other one, except there's some things where it's like, yeah, I totally get why they're not getting a third movie, which is too bad because the way they ended, it's like totally set up to move into the third movie, and I'm like, really? Okay, I like closure. Give me closure!
So. Yeah, man. So as far as the rest of my week, well, let me see. Yeah, just kind of, did the hangout here. Ran around, did the Matters today instead of my usual Friday because of what the guys are doing here at the store, in my apartment, and and then of course you did see my picture in Facebook and Instagram today, right? Talk about the big carpenter ant.
How many inches was that long?
Had to have been at least an inch long.
Okay, that's a pretty good big ant.
That's a big motherfucker, that carpenter ant. I didn't even know it was a carpenter ant. People were jumping on my thread saying, oh, that's a carpenter ant. They live in water and wood is all they need to survive. I'm like, great. It's not enough that I have these other fuckers that I got to deal with. Now they're going to start chewing up the building. I'm like, great. They're like termites in a way.
I felt really bad. I had to kill a lightning bug. It was in the house. I couldn't capture it. I was like, There's harmless bugs, especially those hexagonal little shitty little stink bugs. Those I'm happy to kill. But
you don't
lightning bugs. You feel bad.
No, lightning bugs. I don't mind lightning bugs. I'd rather have the lightning bugs. I'd rather have the zebra spiders, but the fucking carpenter ants and the beetles, the fucking water beetles. I mean, these things are like scarabs, man. They're like these 2 inches long. These things are fucking huge.
Hey, did you see? Speaking of crazy crap like that, you remember we were talking about all the when we did back when News of the Square was still part of this show, and we talked about the iguanas.
Yeah.
In Florida, apparently, they're overrunning Florida now to the point where they're authorizing people to kill iguanas.
What?
That? It's they're.
Yeah, I remember that story. They're falling out of the trees.
Yeah, they're overrunning the state of Florida.
Wow. Open season on iguanas.
I guess.
Iguana season. Alligator
really.
season. Iguana season. Alligator season.
I'm telling you, this is a perfect example why I don't want to move to Florida. Between gators, hurricanes, the Florida man, and now iguanas.
Forget it.
No way.
Mickey Mouse can fucking have it.
No, I'll go visit and I'll go see those things, and then I'm getting the hell out of there.
Yeah, and then there's my coworker who's going on vacation. He's going with his family to California. I'm like, are you sure you want to go?
Not with the earthquakes that are going on right around now. No, thank you.
Yeah, really.
No. I'm sorry. Florida, no way. California, no way. I'll go to Colorado, and life is good. Thank you.
Well, I know why you want to go to Colorado.
Well, yeah, you already know why I want to go to Colorado.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, let's make this clear. Yeah, man.
No. If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. Okay, bong load.
You realize that, come January 1, Ivan is never going to be sober during this show.
I'm not sober now.
He's going to be, baked. Constantly.
So I got that to look forward to.
Yeah, you got that to look forward to.
No. I've been really sedate as of late. So.
Yeah, so moving right along, Ivan, what did you think of Toy Story 4?
What did I think of Toy Story 4?
No, Toy Story 4. Not
Toy Story 4. That's what I said.
You said Toy Stories 4.
Okay, it's Toy Story 4. Okay. Anyway. But, what did I think of it?
Yes, okay. I asked you that question.
Right. And I'm trying to formulate a good thing to say about it. Hang on. I'm trying to make sure I put all of it into perspective. Okay. As far as the story premise, love the story premise. Was really good story. Characters. Okay. Now I understand why Bo Peep is running around in her underwear. Now I understand. All right. The fact that she is now a lost boy and out on her own now with her sheep and all of that. Wonderful. Okay, I get it now. I like the fact that Bo Peep is like this heroic figure in the movie, which is very refreshing.
Yeah, she's battle hardened.
Exactly. And then
streetwise or whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. So the ventriloquist dummies remind me too much of Jerry Mahoney. I don't know if that's a reference far beyond your years, guys.
It
but
is.
There used to be a television show back in the 1950s. Hooray, hurrah, it's Jerry Mahoney. And that dummy looks exactly like the Jerry Mahoney ventriloquist dummy that used to be on that show. And the fact that it walks around on its own, and there's 4 of them, now I know why. They're all fucking rejected because they are scary as fuck. Okay? And the, the little talking doll, girl, it's just,
Gabby.
it's just, it just that has a very, very eerie overtone to her until she gets the voice box from
spoilers.
Woody. Oops, sorry. Okay.
No, it's okay.
Spoiler alert. Yeah.
I still haven't seen it yet, but yeah.
Yep. Spoiler. Yeah. Gabby wants Woody's voice box, and to get Forky back,
right,
Woody sacrifices his voice box.
Right. But the thing that gets me with the Forky, which I didn't understand Forky from the Rushes. Yeah. I'm like, what does this spork have to do with any of it? Until seeing it, and it all made sense to me.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, now I know why Forky exists in this universe. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to blow that out of the water. Sorry, but all I'm saying is, all in all, if they end the franchise here, it's a perfect ending.
I agree.
Well, they said that about the last one, though.
And Toy Story 3 was a perfect ending.
Yeah.
Right. But
so unless they got some more miracles to pull out of their hat, I'm fine with it ending like this.
So here's the irony. Friday morning I had a choice. I was either going to go see Toy Story 4 or Yesterday. And I decided to go see Yesterday.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Because you like Beatles music. We all like Beatles music.
Because I thought it was an interesting premise.
Yeah.
About what happens if the Beatles were no longer to exist and this guy is singing Beatles songs. And I'm like, that sounds kind of interesting.
Okay.
And, I gotta tell you, it was good. It wasn't great. Real in reality, the whole thing with the Beatles thing is kind of almost it's almost kind of like a gimmick for what is essentially a story about a boy and a girl and their love story. And them figuring out that they need to be together kind of thing. And oh, by the way, during this, apparently, the entire world forgets who the hell the Beatles are. And there's some other aspects to that beyond that. And I think where I kind of got frustrated is they end it in a typical fashion of we see that the two people go on living their lives happily ever after, but there's a lot of aspects of so do people not end up knowing who the Beatles are, or does anything ever go back to normal, or I don't want to give too much away, but it's like, okay, so what happens to them after all this? And I'm like, I just felt like there were a lot of unanswered questions where it was like, oh, here's our happy ending. And I'm like, yeah, but there's a lot of other things that you're not answering.
Oh. Well, what did you like about the film?
Yeah.
I thought some of the characters were fun. I thought it was an interesting concept. I liked the idea. There are some other surprises beyond... there are some other surprises. I'm going to leave the rest of it alone because I don't know if you guys are going to see it or not. And, the people who are in it were very good. They do a good job of it. There's some interesting aspects to the story. I will say, I feel like they could have cut about half an hour out of the movie. If you're going to ask me where I put it at about 3 out of 5 yen-mans.
Okay.
I would definitely say, don't pay $10 to see this movie.
This is definitely a matinee movie.
$5 movie?
Yeah, this is a $5 or $6 movie. I saw it in the morning that day, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I didn't pay more. As a matter of fact, Toy Story 4 is the next thing on my list to see, probably. So.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I'm sorry I kind of let some of it go away from me, but it was just that, it was that knee-jerk moment. But
what would you give Toy Story 4, Ivan?
What would I give Toy Story 4? I would have to go with you on this. It's one of the very few 5s I ever give out. But yeah, I have to give it a 5 because it was just, it completed so much in the story. It explained so much. It tied up a lot of the loose ends that Toy Story 3 left behind. And just the way it was done, as always, just a lot of thought went into it. The fact that Randy Newman scored the movie, which, he's always done like 1 or 2 songs, but he actually scored the complete movie this time out. And so, yeah, and if they ended it right here, that would be the perfect, stack of 4 movies I would have in my collection, because like you said, if they come up with if they pull another trick out of the bag, that'd be nothing short of spectacular. I mean, what do you do? Now you get a movie where you find out what Bo Peep and Woody are doing as lost toys, or do you find out what happens to the other toys with the little girl?
Bonnie, yeah.
With Bonnie and with that sort of thing. So you're ooh, what was that?
That would be Scott sending us more stuff for News to the Squared.
Oh, okay. No, I just kind of big buzz in my ear. I got my headphones on. That's why it just kind of caught me by surprise.
No, that'd be Scott. Scott is on fire with sending stuff in the middle of the show.
Well, he knows we're recording, so.
It's got to be what it is, because he's like, I've seen like 4 or 5 go by, and I'm like, okay, Scott on fire today.
Oh my gosh.
So Jeff, we ready to talk Spidey?
Yeah, I think there was one other thing I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
Before we get to Spider-Man. I did see on demand, I saw the upside, which is Bryan Cranston and
Kevin Hart.
And Nicole Kidman. There's some funny parts to it. I would put it at a high recommend. I would give it 4 out of 5 yeah-mans.
Oh.
It was worth seeing. There's certainly some funny aspects to it, but it is more of it's probably the first serious movie I've seen Kevin Hart do. And
the upside?
Yeah, it's basically Cranston plays a quadriplegic, and Kevin Hart kind of somehow ends up being his caretaker, and the relationship that they have, and then Nicole Kidman's involved is at some point the female lead in this, and you kind of get the idea. But yeah, I thought it was a solid movie.
All right.
It was worthwhile. Seriously, for $5-6, not bad at all.
Yeah, of course, I get all my now that Stranger Things Volume 3 is dropped. Everyone, all my people, all my normal Facebook friends, be all like, Mike. There's a transformer in the episode where they're all rolling down the hallway. I'm like, yeah, I know. It was in the trailer. So all these 80s references.
I watched season 1 of Stranger Things, and I was bored. I was kind of bored. I mean, don't get me wrong, there was some interesting, amusing stuff, but I just was like, can we get to it already?
Well, it's the build-up, man. It's the build-up.
Right. Well, and I've noticed like a lot of these series now are like build up, and it's like, okay, can we just get to it already? Or give us something to do. I'm bored. I'm tired of the build-up. Just do it already. It's like
Well,
it's like a whole bunch of foreplay.
It's world building. It's character building.
Oh God.
Well, you got to do the character builds in order to get the understanding of what's going to happen with the characters.
Yeah,
in the build.
Yeah, but when you're building out characters and you can tell that they're building out characters for things that have nothing to do with this season, and you're like, okay, we're spending 3 episodes to get near the end, and they're just stringing this out, and you're like, they could have done this already. We could be done. We could be doing something interesting. It's like, this is not interesting.
So it just becomes a case of mental masturbation after a while.
It's like a lot of these things where they get 13 episodes. And the worst part is, it doesn't matter how many episodes they get. Because, like, when Defenders only got, like, 8, I was like, oh, good. They won't do this because there's going to be 8 episodes. They won't have that kind of time. It took them 2.5 episodes to get the freaking team together. There were 2.5 really good episodes, and then they went right back to this BS until the end. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm done. I'm like, I don't know what it is. Some of these shows, it's like they keep using it reminds me of like, Mike, you remember that show Heroes?
Yeah, I remember with it was on NBC. Oh yeah.
Right. It's like the same. It's like the first time you saw Heroes, it was cool. And then the second season, they went into like this slow burn thing. And you're just like, no.
Nothing's happening.
Right, nothing's happening. Come on. You left us in a place where things are happening. Now I'm bored again. Come on, let's go. Do something cool. You got superheroes. Let's go. All right. Speaking of things let's go.
Speaking of things that are cool and superheroes that are cool.
Oh God, yeah. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to hand out 5 yeah-mans.
Okay, so
obviously,
spoiler alert for if you haven't seen Spider-Man: Far From Home, I'd say back out now and see you next week. So, Jeff.
I mean, I'm gonna see it, but I haven't seen it yet. But that's okay. Come with it.
Yeah, there will be spoilers obviously ahead. So.
You tell me, Mike. I'm telling you, 5 yeah-mans.
I give it 4.
All right.
I think
I'm a little bit more of a Spider-Man fan than you, so I accept that.
Well, excuse me. I like Spider-Man too. Not saying I'm a bigger Spider-Man fan than you, but of course, I grew up on the old 60s cartoons, so. But anyway, as far as like you said, this is MCU Spider-Man. So changes have to be made, and I'm digging every morsel of this world that we've built post Snap. Or what they call it. They call it now the blip.
Yeah, now that we have everyone back, it's the blip.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it went from the Snap to the blip.
Yeah. Well, people weren't there for the Snap, so they can't reference that. So the common nomenclature is that or whatever the common word is for it, I guess.
No, because they do reference the Snap and then they go to the blip, and then it's funny because people show up like in the weirdest places from when the blip happens, and they show a couple scenes like that where it's really kind of funny because it's like all of a sudden all these people blip out of nowhere and back into like reality.
Okay. For those of us who aren't privy to snapping and blipping, could you kind of...
Ivan, did you not see Infinity War and Endgame?
Yes, I did.
Then you know what we're talking about. Half of the universe was gone for 5 years.
Right.
So when they were gone, they called it the Snap.
Okay.
And when it came back 5 years later, when Hulk snapped everyone back...
It became the blip.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
There's a brief summary of that when they did the school video of the...
Yeah.
And the first thing out of my friend's mouth when they heard the Whitney Houston song is, yep, Dolly Parton's getting more money.
That's for the Whitney Houston music was... Our entire theater was dying.
I didn't. I shed a tear because no one gave a shit about Vision except Wanda.
Wow.
So yeah, this is cool, and now I guess it's a smaller scale in a sense where it's not like epic, save the world kind of thing. And I like that smaller scale. as a story, I think I liked Homecoming just a little bit better. But the thing that I liked the movie as a superhero film, as a film inside the MCU. I liked it a lot. But my two problems I had with this film is that, one, the trailers showed us too much. And I think I'm going to try and swear off trailers from now on in this universe. I think I'd enjoyed it more had I not seen all this stuff from the trailers. And it gets distracting for me when you're like, oh, there's that scene from the trailer. Oh, there's that scene from the trailer. And in the third act, where, oh, you work for Spider-Man. No, I work with Spider-Man. Oh, nope, that joke rolled over because I already seen it.
I still laughed.
Yeah, I still got a chuckle out of it, but still, it's like I was frustrated by shit I saw in the trailer. And by the way, they didn't show that scene where Spider-Man's talking to the cops.
Right, I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, so did they put that in the bonus footage for after Endgame, or what did they do with that?
I don't know. Well, maybe it's funny. It's funny because last time they had scenes that were in the trailer that weren't in the movie.
Right.
They did that too, where they had scenes like that. So I think they did some of that to lead people on and whatnot. But I don't think I watched as many trailers this time because of exactly. See, I did that with Homecoming, where by the time I had watched Homecoming, I had watched way too much of anything I saw that was like a sneak peek Spider-Man.
I'm just glad they didn't give the twist, like the oh my god moment when you find out that Vulture is her dad. That floored my theater. That was everyone was like, oh my god. That was but.
But then, of course, also...
But then, because we know... I'm sorry, Ivan, go ahead.
Oh, no. But I just figure in some cases when they're promoting the movie and do the rushes, now what might be also the case is that certain scenes that they were going to include in the movie didn't make the cut in the movie.
Right. That's one of the scenes we're talking about is there's a scene in the what you call the rushes or the trailers where Spider-Man stops some bad guys and he's talking about some cops and then tells them he's going on vacation. That scene is not in the movie at all.
No.
That scene is in the movie.
Because they put those things in advance and then maybe they ran the movie back and said, well, maybe that scene doesn't quite work. So instead of going back and fixing the rush, they just left it out of the movie altogether. And it could also be, I'm just saying that could be a possibility.
So the one thing, that's the one thing I had trouble with is that the trailers gave away too much. The second thing I had trouble with is that we know Mysterio's a bad guy. And for half the movie, he's being all nicey nice to Spider-Man. And we're like, when is that shoe going to drop? When are we going to find out? When is he going to show his colors? And I was like, that was distracting to me in a good way. I didn't hate the movie because of this, but that was just a little distracting for me.
Well, it was a tease.
No, it was just waiting for that moment where Mysterio's going to, twirl his mustache finally.
Right. Well, I'm sorry.
But I still liked it, but it's not my favorite Spider-Man movie.
I think in some ways it's interesting because there was a period there for a little bit where I was like, maybe they are bringing in another villain and they really are gonna kind of play this off a little bit longer with Mysterio. And I'm like, and then they get to that whole thing about, where it becomes the big reveal and the aha moment.
The big exposition drop.
Right.
About
which, by the way, was
from.
impressive as hell.
Yes, I liked how it tied in. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And now we know that Tony Stark has inadvertently created like 99% of all the villains in the MCU.
Right. That's the only thing I find amusing is it's like okay, so Tony Stark created a Vulture. Now he created Mysterio, and it's like Spider-Man does have these villains long before Tony Stark came along. I mean, I understand you have to figure out how to fit this into your MCU mythos, but and I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, these are real Spider-Man villains. They're not like, hey, guess what? Tony Stark made these people into Spider-Man villains, which is kind of like annoying, but they did a good enough job interweaving it and showing us how they got there, and that was cool. I kind of enjoyed it. I honestly, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I love the Betty Brant and Ned Leeds thing.
Yes.
That was hysterical.
Yes.
And what's even better than that is in the comics, those two get together for real and they get married, at least in regular Marvel Universe continuity. Yeah. I don't know if that'll happen in and again, or at least a while back, that's what happened.
And he's great. I mean, any scene with Ned in it, any scene with Happy in it, I mean, it's golden. I love it.
Well, I think that's what I love about it too. Is one of the things about Spider-Man in the comics that is so great is Spider-Man is about his supporting cast as much as it is about Spider-Man, and they really have built that out. And Favreau being Happy, and now he kind of works into that and Marissa Tomei just seems like whatever you put her in these days, she's just great. And then just you got Zendaya playing MJ, and you've got, like I said, you've got Ned with Betty and how that all works, and then the kid who plays Flash Thompson is hysterical.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I enjoy the hell out of him.
Yeah, he's great.
I enjoy the hell out of him. I enjoy the hell out of him. And like the one scene where he's not better than Spider-Man. Spider-Man's this, and then Parker walks into he walks in, he goes, "Hey, puke wad, what's up?" And everybody's laughing. But
because that's Flash's shtick.
Right. And even like the new guy that they put in, the Brad guy, who is supposed to be the rival, to MJ. Yeah, the rival for MJ. Yeah. That worked out well too, because it's all like teen angsty, and I think that's the part I enjoy about it, is it's like they didn't forget that this movie is supposed to be about like it's supposed to be like a teenage movie and all this stuff and all that stuff. I mean, that's what they didn't forget. Was, okay, imagine your high school trip. I mean, with the crappy chaperones who just are like, God, I can't believe I'm stuck on this trip.
And we get more of that teacher, that kind of like awkward parental unit.
And then the other
guardian
guy who's just like, I'm just on this trip, I don't know why I'm here, and it's like, you get that, and then the whole thing is just kind of, and then they drop a few references here and there to certain things and whatnot, and when they finally do get to Mysterio as the villain, they did a really good job of showing why Mysterio can be a badass. In that one section where he pretty much kicks the crap out of Spider-Man. You know what section I'm talking about, Mike, right?
Yeah. That uses his Mysterio, his illusions to throw him for a loop, and he winds up on a train, and that was great.
Mm-hmm. But
and it's good to see Nick Fury. He had some great moments too, because he's just Nick Fury. He's badass.
Well, we need to. We haven't gotten.
We'll get to there. We'll get there.
Yeah. Well, Nick Fury, right? Okay. Okay.
When he's sitting there so nice to finally meet you, Spider-Man. And he's got the tranquilizer gun, and people are knocking on Peter's door. If somebody else knocks on that door, you and I will be attending another funeral.
That was good. That's awesome. It's like, stop ghosting Nick Fury, and it's like, okay, and he's like, you just, like, when he accidentally almost targets Brad for death from the satellite from above, and that whole thing, and it's like, can't you get somebody else? Bitch, you went to space. There's good. I mean, that's
great moments.
There's some good moments,
and the final battle was good. With all the still trying to bullshit everybody with the illusions, and when we finally get the final battle between Mysterio and Spider-Man, and and that was one of the toilers, is that was the Lego set that Happy and Spider-Man are on the plane, and he gets to design the suit inside the plane. He has like the little workshop or whatever, so he can build his suit. And that's I like the black and red. I like that.
Well, that's the other thing too. Is okay. So one of the things I have issue with in the MCU universe is, okay, so now it's Happy who gives the big talk about to get Peter back where you want him to go, and then it's like, again, it's like, this is a perfect time where it's like, why can't we bring in Uncle Ben again? It's funny, the only reference to Uncle Ben is when he's packing the clothes, and you can see on the suitcase where it says BFP.
Yeah, it has his.
That's the only reference they've ever made to Uncle Ben.
That's right. And they never said his name.
Right.
Not in Civil War, not in Homecoming.
Not once.
Not in, yeah.
And it's like, it's funny because everybody's like, well, that's what Tony Stark did. And I'm like, okay, fine, but that's not, it's like, well, they have a father-son kind of relationship. I'm like, yeah, but at the end of the day, and maybe it's because from a comic perspective, yeah, they do. But Peter Parker would never forget his Uncle Ben. And that to me is something that kind of nicks at me a little bit, but not enough to be, truly annoyed. But yeah, no, he, that whole back scene with the fight is good, and I do kind of enjoy the fact that Mysterio isn't your usual villain, where it's, okay, he really doesn't have anything against Peter, just that you're ruining his evil plan. Although it would be interesting to see in the next one somebody who actually does have something against him.
Yeah, that Spider-Man he got somehow wronged by him.
Right.
From one of his capers in New York or something like that.
Right. That has not been the case. This is now 2 movies in a row where it's like, we like the kid. And that was, and there are certain things that were funny, which is like, they make up, the guy made up the alternate universe thing, but yet they use the alternate universe.
Yes, where it's 616. Yes,
right, where it's the actual real number
multiverse. Yeah,
right. That is the actual real number of the real Marvel universe, which is 616.
Yeah.
So there's some of that stuff that's going on.
And Hydra Man and Magma Man were red herrings. Not as bad as, say, Mandarin, but.
Yeah. Not to mention Sandman too. So.
Yeah, exactly. When they meet, they see the little Mexican town. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because they pattern a lot of those after those guys. But
right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. But all right. So should we get to the part that, quite frankly, put it over the top?
The post-credit scene, number 1.
Which is why I give it 5 of 5.
I think you called it. There were a couple of episodes we talked about the certain editor of a certain newspaper,
where I was like, man, I just wish they had that character, and then there he is.
And no one else. A man born to play the role, J.K. Simmons.
Yep.
Returns. And they did it in the perfect way.
Yep.
It's like an Alex Jones kind of talk show host.
Mm-hmm.
I think I love it. I think I'm in love with this new JJJ.
Oh, I gotta tell you, 2 minutes after it was over, I'm like, you're gonna leave us here? No. Give me the freaking next movie. Let's go. You can't leave us here. No way.
But then J. Jonah Jameson drops, he plays the footage that Mysterio reveals to the world who Peter Parker is.
Yeah. That's...
And we're all like, oh my God.
Well, he's like, oh my God. He actually does that.
Then Peter did the, oh shit.
Well, yeah, and he's got that look like he looks like Macaulay Culkin from Home Alone.
Right.
But it is funny because I kept, it was funny. I said to the person I saw it with, I'm like, how many more people are he going to tell his secret identity to? Or how many more people going to know? This is not becoming a secret identity.
Yeah, Ned
longer.
Knows and May and obviously,
and Mysterio knows.
Yeah.
And...
Well, if Mysterio knows, but you see, Vulture had a reason to keep Spider-Man's identity secret.
Right.
To protect his daughter.
Right.
At least that's as far as we know. So this villain, Mysterio, he didn't give a shit. He didn't have a reason to keep Spider-Man's identity secret.
Here's a question. Is it Mysterio who releases it? Or there's the one scene near the end where his assistant puts a whole bunch of stuff on a flash drive?
Yeah, that was Ralphie from Christmas Story, the bald-headed guy.
Right, but he puts it all on a flash drive.
Yeah, we see him downloading something. So
right, and I think that's who did it, not Mysterio.
Right, could be just some deep fake video that, because I doubt, like the final battle with Mysterio. Maybe he had instructions to the dude. If the battle goes south, if this goes south, you release this video, send us to the dailybugle.net.
Mm-hmm.
And he did.
Well, I like I said, that scene took it from a 4 to a 5. Because one thing I've been sitting there saying is, man, I wish we had J. Jonah Jameson. We need back, and I said, I think a couple episodes, I'm like, man, it would be so cool if they brought J.K. Simmons back to play J. Jonah Jameson.
And I was like, they'll never do that.
Right, and we're like, they're never going to do that.
No, never in a million years.
And there he is.
There he is. Ask and you shall receive, Jeff.
Oh no, our entire theater popped. Huge.
Ours
when
too.
That happened.
Ours
when
too.
He came on screen. And everybody had this oh my god thing. And the best is, nobody had that information. Nobody was aware he's in the movie.
Nope.
And, you see him and you're all like, holy crap. How did they keep this quiet? I'm with you. I was, that whole thing is exactly where it went from a 4 to a 5.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I can't wait to see J. Jonah Jameson in an MCU universe with all this. And it's going to be interesting because that's the one thing about Spider-Man in the MCU has been, Spider-Man's a hero. Everybody loves Spider-Man. Well, now you've got this video and it's all spun and it's going to be interesting to see where they go with this. And in some ways it plays to some of the old days of Spider-Man, which is, Spider-Man is, he's a wall-crawling menace and all this stuff. So we'll see how it goes. Right, he's a menace. He's a menace.
Yep, those old Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll see. And then the second post-credit
scene was like everyone had a cartoon question mark over their head.
Yeah, for a few minutes, and then it went,
Yeah.
Which is, the second post-credit scene is apparently we didn't have Nick Fury and Maria Hill. Apparently we had two Skrulls, the two Skrulls from,
it was a Talos from Captain Marvel.
From Captain Marvel.
Yep.
And so, cause there were certain people who were sitting there talking about how, and I didn't catch enough of it. I just wasn't paying attention enough, or I just didn't care about that. There were certain things that were off about Nick Fury, but this certainly explains them all, which is great. That makes it really simple. It's like, okay, now we've explained it all. It's funny because he's like, I can't believe as shapeshifters we got played, which is kind of amusing. But it was funny because there's almost a part of me where it's like, now I want to go back and watch the movie just so I can, now that I know that, just to see all the different things. It is funny though, Mike, because they have the one scene where they're talking about Kree. And I was like, why are they talking about Kree in a Spider-Man movie? The Kree in a Spider-Man movie. And then this happens.
Right, they're
and
the little headquarters they set up like in the sewer or whatever.
Yeah. They're talking about a Kree thing that they found. And I'm like, why are they talking about this in the Spider-Man movie? That don't even make any sense. And now it does.
Mm-hmm. And we see Nick Fury wake up in some kind of little like mini space apartment thing. And then he walks onto this huge hallway.
Where are my shoes?
Let's get to work or something like that.
Yeah, well, let's get to work. Where are my shoes and my foofy drink and all that other crap? And apparently McFurry in space. So
this must be the setup for Sword.
Yeah, I think that's
the general consensus.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of the consensus about that. Yeah, I don't, well, like I said, I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought they did a good job. I think the post-credit scenes really, scenes are the reason why I give it 5 out of 5. Is because it was a 4, and then you have these 2 scenes, and now it totally changes the dynamic of the entire movie.
Of the MCU.
In terms of of the movie, the MCU, how this is going to go. I mean, that's the other question. How long have they been impersonating Nick Fury?
Is it like leading all the way back to the one scene everyone thought about because during Age of Ultron, he was eating toast that was diagonal or whatever. So how long has Talos been Nick Fury?
Yeah. Oh, no, was it toast? Was it that far back? Or no, because he did it in Captain Marvel. No, he did do it in that one. Yeah, that's true. That's a good question. Just like there's a new theory out there now that maybe Tony Stark ain't dead.
Right. Maybe he was a Skrull, or maybe he's still
he was
alive,
a Skrull.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
But he didn't turn back. He didn't turn, well, obviously, when he died, he didn't, because we've seen that in Captain Marvel. When the Skrulls die, they revert back to their normal shape, their greenness.
Yeah. Well, again, you never know.
Right.
Right. But as we talked about at the time when Tony Stark, quote unquote, died, I was like, in comic books, nobody really ever dies. They go away for a while sometimes, but they never really ever die.
No, that's true in sci-fi as well.
Yeah.
Well, some of them go into different parallels. Some people go into alternate universes.
Right.
Yeah, that too. They never really died.
And now with time travel now and it being kind of breaking their own rules of every, like with what War Machine was saying, Time Cop, Terminator, every sci-fi movie involving time travel, you're breaking that rule. But anyway, I loved it. It was good. I probably will see it one more time in the theater because I just want to catch some of the stuff I'd missed. Little stuff, Easter eggs.
Yeah, well, armed with the information I got from the both of you, now I want to see it even more now. So I can go ahead and come with my own collective of this. Now I'm excited, a lot more excited.
It's what makes it cool is it's a Marvel movie, it's an MCU movie, and at the same time, it doesn't forget that this is a movie about teenagers.
Yes.
From today. And they never forget that this is like an overseas class trip. And you've seen those horrible B movies from like back in the day about like the kids that would go on the class trips and how all those weird things would happen and stuff like that. And they played all of it. They played it, every aspect of it. Like, actually, we didn't mention this. Like the one part where he's like, "No, you're going to have to find somebody else to go with you to Prague," and suddenly the sponsor comes in and goes, "I negotiated a great deal. We're also going to get to go to Prague." And
where Nick Fury's be all like, "Okay, all right, well, you don't have to go," and he just smiled, And the next morning,
right, and initially they're staying this crusty-looking, horrible hostile in like Italy. And then all of a sudden, they're staying at like a 4-star, 5-star hotel in like Prague. And he's like, "Oh, I negotiated a great deal." And Peter's like, yeah, right.
Okay.
Right,
So,
sure.
Yeah. For me, it was 4 out of 5. Good movie. Liked it.
Yeah. It's definitely
awesome.
a good bookend. It's definitely a good bookend
for Phase 3, yes.
Yeah, it makes sense to why that's the bookend, and that's the end of Phase 3.
And they've confirmed that Marvel will be at Hall H for SDCC, so...
Yeah. So I'm curious what they'll announce.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what
'Cause
they're going to announce.
They're currently filming Black Widow. So maybe we'll get a timeline of some of these movies that are coming out after Black Widow.
Yeah. I have a feeling they're going to announce. I think
what's coming next.
Based on that they have placeholders for when some of these movies are going to come out.
Yeah, you see that on Box Office Mojo. They've got 2 movies planned for 2020 and then 3 for every year after 2020. So let me know. Let me know when I get my Guardians 3. I want Guardians 3. Yeah. I want Black Panther 2. I want Doctor Strange 2. I want Captain Marvel 2. I want it all. I want it all today.
Well, and I think the funny part is you already know what some of these movies are. I mean, you already know we're getting another Doctor Strange movie. You know we're not.
We're getting Black Panther 2.
Right. Well, you know we're getting another Black Panther movie. So there's another movie now, and then you know we're gonna get Guardians
3.
So right, and you know there's a Black Widow movie. So right there's 4 movies.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're not talking about anything. And I'm sorry. And obviously we're gonna have another Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
Okay. So right there.
Are we gonna get another Captain Marvel movie?
Probably.
Yeah. Did we not say Captain Marvel?
Yeah, Brie Larson is signed on for I think
at
least 3 more.
So
films.
There's 6.
Yeah.
There's 6 movies, and we haven't really even sat there and said, "Here's something new." Actually, Black Widow would be new technically. But.
Okay, now does Shazam play into that as well?
No, that's DC.
No, that's DC, Ivan.
Oh, that's okay.
That should be coming out on digital, like realist. I think it's out on digital now. I think
it's on demand at the moment.
Yeah, it's worth a watch, Jeff.
It did. I saw it.
Okay, you saw it. Okay, all right.
I saw it. I don't know if Ivan did, but
yeah, he saw it with me.
I saw it with him. Yeah.
No, I thought it was okay.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I'm thinking about Shazam, though. The fact that the 6 other characters that were in the movie towards the end of the movie.
Yeah, the family.
The family thing. Now, my question is, you know what my question is? Do you think they're gonna do anything with that in a second movie?
In the next movie, yeah, absolutely.
If they do a sequel to Shazam with what's his name, Levi? The name of the actor.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah, it was a success as far as I know. It made the studio money.
And it makes sense because, Mary is Mary Batson, who becomes Mary Marvel, and then Freddie is Freddie Freeman, who is Captain Marvel Jr. or Shazam Jr. I guess technically now. The others I'm not so sure about, but those are the 2 that off the top of my head are canon. So they brought them in right away. I thought it would take them time to get those people
in. But now, like I said, I think I'm done with movies for a while. I don't think I have anything coming out pressing. We saw the trailer for the new Midway that's coming in November. I think I want to see that. I love it. And I want to see Ford versus Ferrari. That's also in November. And in November is The Joker.
I thought that was October.
It might be October, you're right.
Okay, here's something I want to put past you guys. Now, everybody's making the big hoodoo about Ariel and the new, the Little Mermaid movie. And the fact that, now we're going back to the whole thing where Will Smith did, the genie in Aladdin. Now everybody's making a hoodoo now about Ariel being a black person, playing the lead character. And I'm thinking, all right.
I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care. I think I think the people who are complaining about it are infinitesimal compared to the people who are countering it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a majority of the people who at least give a crap that there's a Little Mermaid movie coming, I mean, I don't care. I mean, so she doesn't look like how she does in the cartoon.
You know what the biggest thing was about that whole announcement? And it's funny, which is because eventually there was an article about it. My first reaction was, I looked at the name and I thought, wow, Halle Berry's a little old to be playing this role, isn't she?
No.
And it's not Halle Berry, it's Haley. What? I don't remember what her name is, but it's similar to Halle Berry, and it was really funny because I guess I'm not the only one.
At first
who thought
glance,
that.
yeah,
I'm not the only one who thought that. I'm like, Halle Berry, really? She's kind of old to be playing that role, right?
No, I think the opposition to this decision is trumped up.
Yeah,
and
well,
it's not as widespread outrage as you may think.
Okay.
The problem,
I think most people are cool with it.
Yeah, I think the problem becomes, and this is, I've noticed this of late from some of my sources, like for comic book stuff on Facebook, which is some of the stuff that they're putting out at this point that they sit there and they call news. It's not news anymore, and they keep. And because they gotta get clicks and they gotta get this,
they gotta get that. Exactly. It's all about clickbait.
It's right. It's some of the stuff that they have now. I'm like literally like I can almost tell now when it's like nothing worthwhile.
Yeah, half the headlines on Yahoo are like it's all about internet outrage over such and such.
Yeah, and you're like,
I'm not outraged over that.
Right. Yeah.
Oh no, I mean, all right. It don't bother me worth a damn. It really doesn't.
No.
The whole thing with the genie never bothered me worth a shit. I don't care. That's neither here nor there for me. I mean, a part well done is a part well done, no matter who does it. Okay? I mean, if they come up with, what the fuck, some Disney movie where they got a Puerto Rican character in it. Okay, big fucking deal. So what? Whoever wants to be in that role, and if they see fit to put that person in that role, well, yeah, you know what? God bless them.
Oh, yeah, one more thing speaking of outrage, before I guess we can wrap up this Ariel conversation, but, I mean, unless anyone else has anything to offer about this.
Not really.
Okay, then, all right, let's carry on. I guess Grace Jones, walked off the set.
I heard about that, yeah.
Because she found out how small a role she'll have in James Bond 25. I guess they're calling it Bond 25. Is that the movie? Is that the name of it?
Is that really the name of the movie?
What?
I saw that. I'm like, seriously? That's what they're going to call it?
Bond 25?
They're not even naming it after one of Ian Fleming's books?
Why would you not? I think Ian Fleming would be most upset over the situation.
But anyway, yeah, Grace Jones, apparently she arrived on set, found out how small a role she's going to have, and got right back in her car and left.
Well, how big of a role did she think she was going to get? She's 70 years old.
Yeah. It's not like she's going to be like doing backflips with James Bond or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not like
I think coming from where Grace Jones stands, because she is that personality, very
a diva's diva.
A diva, yeah, a diva's diva. Thank you. Good way of putting that. Very, her eclectic catalog of things that she's done for her career and such. It's not really, I mean, Grace Jones is not really mainstream. Like she's really out there, known like many of the other people that are out there. I mean, you talk about Grace Jones, and that's if you're really in the know of Grace Jones. But Grace Jones as an everyday pop culture type of a thing, no, not so much. So what did she expect? What, she was going to go through half a movie, 3/4 of a movie? Not based upon what she's done in her past, she's not.
And what movie was she View to a Kill?
Yeah.
Yeah, with Christopher Walken. Wow. Hey.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember, like, any of her lines. I mean, I don't
remember,
like,
that many in that movie.
She didn't have that big of a role in that movie anyway.
Oh,
see, that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make, though. She doesn't strike a very memorable sensibility. A lot of her music, it runs the same way. I mean, unless you really know Grace Jones' music, it's not something that becomes that kind of a thing.
I gotta be honest with you, Grace Jones, the only reason I remember Grace Jones is Grace Jones was in Playboy.
There you go.
I think.
Yeah.
I think she was in Playboy quite a bit too, but
aside from the fact that she was a model.
Right.
And
she went with Bowie?
And she went with Bowie, right.
That's the other thing. That she was with Bowie.
Was that Grace Jones or was that I Man?
Oh, maybe it's I Man. I don't remember.
I think it's Iron Man. I think
And
Iron
maybe
Man.
it was. Maybe it was Iron Man. I can't remember.
Wait, breaking news. Grace Jones will not be asked to play in the next Conan movie either. Because she's 70 years old, maybe.
Well,
God.
okay, but don't you think? Okay, don't you think there's a bit of gender discrimination? Not gender. Age discrimination happening here, or do you think she just isn't that type of a character that would make a memorable performance within the frame?
I think it's
You
all
did
about.
remember in the last movie?
It's all about. James Bond movies are not known for recurring characters except for Moneypenny, and Q.
True, but at the same time, there have been an abundance of different, actors and actresses who have been through the entire series of James Bond motion pictures that you could name them right off. Okay, the singers that did the theme songs, you can name them right off.
But they never done it twice, Ivan. That's the thing. It's a different movie, different actor, different performer.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Weren't there a couple of villains though? Like, wasn't Jaws in a couple of movies?
Jaws?
Yeah, the guy at the end of Moonraker.
Or Odd Job, or I don't know. If
with
I
the
think
guy
it
with the
was
metal.
Odd Job.
No,
Yeah,
I thought
Odd Job.
Jaws was in a couple of movies too. And then there was the Russian guy, the guy who ran the Russian bureau or something like that.
Oh, like
there were a couple people.
Wasn't Mr. Moto with the hat in a few movies too?
Yeah, like I said, but yeah, for the most part, see, I don't know what Grace Jones thought she was gonna get. I mean, this was really more kind of a nostalgia, unless they really told her that they were gonna give her a bigger role or something. I don't know.
Well, the thing about it is, though, when you get some actresses and actors, especially, I'm not trying to slant this, but especially with actresses, that, some of them can act within their age frame and come off with it gracefully.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them, well, not so much. And I'm not trying to slight anybody on that, but it just seems to be the thing that happens, to an actress. Actors, guys, they could be as old as dirt. I mean, look at Clint Eastwood in The Mule. I mean, come on. I mean, he's as old as dirt,
Yeah,
but
he's starting to get kind of skeletal in his profile. It's kind of a little disconcerting.
Yeah,
I grew up watching like all his spaghetti westerns.
Well, yeah,
and now you look at him. Oh my goodness, yeah, he's starting to look pretty old.
No, and it's funny because a lot of those movies now, it's like where things like where he gets all violent like that. He doesn't live in the end.
Yeah, a lot of
that's
Clint Eastwood movies, he dies at the end.
Well, now it's even
the latest
more
ones,
prevalent.
yeah, the latest ones, yeah. Well, I guess
get off my lawn, bang, you're dead. Okay, then bang, you're dead.
Well, see, but I think
spoilers.
because I think Clint Eastwood has come to his reality that he can't always live to see another day at the point of his life where he is now.
Well, you want that story where you go out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, right.
Righting the wrongs,
Even if it means you dying in the end, you still right at the wrongs.
It's a noble's death, a warrior's death.
It's a warrior's death. Thank you. Good, well put. And
just like Gladiator.
And then you got the actresses who you got Angelica Houston. She's old, but she can still hold her own.
She's looking pretty old. Yeah.
Yeah, but they still look to her for certain things.
Right, but
I mean,
again,
isn't she?
What are you trying to get to here, man?
Yeah, what's your point here, Ivan?
My point here is that for Grace Jones, she doesn't have the high profile sensibility needed to sustain her in whatever it is she's going to do. Not for a Bond movie, because she's never been in that high profile. She's been more like, in the not the shadows, but just not as popular or not as known in pop culture than, say, maybe if you got some other actress to play that role. And who has a name. I mean, give me any woman who could be in that movie. Come on, guys. What other woman could be in that movie?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
Right. I mean, I'm sure.
I'm ill-equipped to answer that question because I don't know what the movie's about. Besides just being a James Bond movie.
I could go pull up IMDb.
All right. Well, here's a better version of Ivan's question. What actress would you like to see as a Bond girl?
Well, there you go.
But is she a Bond girl? She's not really a Bond girl.
No, Grace Jones wasn't going to be a Bond girl. I think she's going to be like a walk-on. But she wanted none of that shit.
Right. She wanted more than a little bit of a walk-on.
I think she wanted to be a Bond girl.
No, that wasn't. First of all, that's not going to happen. That's not happening.
Daniel Craig isn't that old.
That has nothing to do with it either. It's just that's not what they're doing. What they're gonna. Yeah. No, that wasn't ever. I don't. If she thought that, then I don't know where she was at.
Exactly. That's not happening.
Yeah, so, anything else here before we wrap up?
Yeah, I do have one quick thing, but I have a feeling this is going to go a little longer. So now it's coming out, and it's funny because when I was watching the trailer for Joker, I kind of was sitting there going, none of this really kind of looks familiar to anything I've ever seen as a reader for years about anything related to like how the Joker came to be or anything. And now the director, Todd Phillips, I think it's Todd Phillips, has basically said, we just kind of created our own mythos for the Joker, and none of it has anything to do with the comic books.
Okay. So it's going to be the Halle Berry Catwoman of Joker.
Basically, it's going to be a standalone Joker.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it'll be. It's possible it might not be a standalone. And again, I don't know. The only thing is, it's funny, Mike. That's exactly where I went, which is, oh great, here comes the male version of the Halle Berry.
It's a Joker in name only.
Yeah. But the only difference is that they have a good director and they have Joaquin
Phoenix is an awesome actor.
Right, and you know. I'm like, I don't know where I'm at with this, Mike, because I'm kind of in between. Because I'm like, there's a part of me where I'm annoyed with it, and there's a part of me where I'm like, well, it is Joaquin Phoenix, and
I will make you guys a sucker bet, $10 worth of a sucker bet that it takes a shit.
No, it won't. It's a Joker movie. It's a Joker movie. He's a legitimate actor. I'm sure if the performance is good enough, it might even garnish an Oscar nomination.
Wasn't Scorsese supposed to be involved in that movie?
Yeah, I thought he was
right?
producer of this film.
Right. That's what I mean. I mean, this is kind of one of those things where it's like, I think that's the other reason why they kind of let them do whatever the hell they wanted, but there's a part of me where I'm like, you know, this is another example of where I kind of laugh because it's like, okay, if somebody did this in the comics and they'd be like, hey, we sell Joker shit all the time, what the hell you think you're doing? As soon as they want to make a movie and they think they're going to make a whole bunch of money and they think they can win some Oscars with it, do whatever the hell you want.
Okay,
wait. It's like, okay, we got Scorsese. Oh, okay, we got Joaquin Phoenix. Oh, we got this great director. Yeah, do whatever you want with it. We don't care.
Okay, so this is just like a studio calculation. It's like, you know what sells? Sci-fi movies. Let's do a sci-fi movie, but it's going to be Oscar bait, like Sandra Bullock in Gravity, or Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey. Hi. So you think this is like the Oscar? This is going to be like the studio Oscar answer to a comic book movie.
Maybe. I think there might be something to it, and I think the reason there is because of when when Heath Ledger posthumously won the Academy Award, and there's just such a, for some strange reason,
posthumously.
Yeah, whatever. I'm sure.
But he did it the right way, as posthumorously.
Yeah, well, pot
why
roast.
so serious?
Wait, after we had the pot roast, again. The point being is, I think that
there's the title to the show.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize I did it, but I'm like, okay, great. But yeah, I think you're right, Mike. I think there's a part of it where it is about
A studio calculation.
This is a character that he has a little bit of a mafia gangster roots to him.
$10 each. It's going to take a shit.
I disagree.
I don't know about that. I'm not ready to make that bet.
Ahmad, take the bet. $10. It's going to take a shit.
Well, define take a shit, Ivan.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Well, okay, take a shit. Basically, yeah, there have been lots of movies where you've had the best directors and the best actors and the best intentions in the world.
No.
And it bombed.
This movie will make money for the studio, no doubt. Because they're going low tech. There aren't going to be like crazy spectacle special effects in this film.
So they're making it more of a human type of earthy, a more down to earth type of thing.
Yeah, we know that Batman might even be just mentioned in passing. I'm sure we're not going to see a Batman.
Okay, well then basically we're looking at it. Let me see if I'm using the right word. An introspective Joker.
It's like if you took the mafia side of the Joker movie, the crime side of the movie, and then you took him as a character within like a crime movie, like a Scorsese crime movie.
Okay, I mean, I'm familiar with Scorsese's work, okay? Mm-hmm. And Scorsese has pulled his share of rabbits out of his ass. Okay, I get it. But a criminal as iconic as the Joker, I mean,
you're really gonna put your $10 against Joaquin Phoenix?
I am putting my $10.
I don't know.
$10. I mean, I don't know. I'm not feeling this for some reason. I don't know. I mean, I've seen Joker in many ways in the movies over the years, from the most comical to the most maniacal, and to try to humanize the Joker.
But they've been trying to do that for years now.
Yes, they have, with varied results. And you know,
well, okay, with the exception of, besides the Jared Leto Joker, which I don't have nearly as much of a problem as everybody else does. I don't know. I'm not seeing where there's been an issue with the Joker lately.
Well, all right. But like I said, my $10 is on the table. My $10 is on the table. That it's not.
I just see this as a standalone trade paperback, as a Joker story.
See, I gotta be honest with you, Mike. That's where my
his graphic novel standalone.
Right. That's where my fear is. My fear is, this gets successful enough. Now all of a sudden, this is the new Joker. And this is the new mythos. And this is what we're going to have. And
then it wipes out all the other Joker mythos.
And you know what? Warner Brothers is in such a mindset these days where I would not be shocked by that.
If it's successful, that might be something to latch on to. But I don't think they can afford Joaquin Phoenix as a recurring Joker for the new DCEU.
I don't know. I don't know about DCU. I'll give you that. I don't think he could be a DCU villain. No. But I do think that, it's interesting because this Batman that they're talking about doing, they're trying to talk about deconstructing the Batman movie more kind of like this. So I wonder if they're not trying to hook the two in together, if you know what I mean.
But they've been at each other. They've been at each other since the beginning. So to sit there and go ahead and try to make a singular treatment on just one villain, that's got to be. I mean, the script and everything about it has to be really, really mind blowing to pull such an enormous thing off successfully.
Well, like I said, here's the deal. I don't think. Let's put this in perspective. If you don't have Scorsese, and you don't have Joaquin Phoenix, and you don't have somebody like a Todd Phillips involved, okay? Do you really think this project gets made?
Well, no.
Right. Well, there's your answer.
But
there's your real answer right there.
But that does not guarantee anything. Because you could have the best of everything, but if your story isn't strong, if the way it was directed, if the way it wasn't produced is strong, if the way it wasn't portrayed is strong, then it's going to be a hailstorm of all kinds of things.
I think the only thing that concerns me is when I've seen the trailers. Wow, is it dark?
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
yeah, it looks pretty dreary.
Dark.
It's going to be.
I mean, it's like. Oh
is it?
I don't know.
Are we revisiting Arkham again in that whole universe? That whole dark Gotham feel?
No, it's not that way. It's if you've seen the trailer and Mike knows what I'm talking about. It's like you're watching the thing. You're like, wow, am I gonna really want to watch this? Because it's like grim. I mean, it's like. Okay, This is pretty, and I know it's got an R rating too, so it's like, they're gonna...
Oh, they're gonna pull all the stops for this, of course.
Yeah.
They have nothing to lose at this point, especially if it's a standalone thing, or maybe if it doesn't become a standalone thing. That's an awfully dark place to follow if you're starting dark in the first place. So
again,
I have my.
I'll still be there to see it. So
yeah, I probably
time will tell.
Too.
Oh, I'll see it. I'll be happy to see it. But
the only other thing I did want to bring up, and I think we got to bring it up today, even though I know we're running close to time, we want to get out of here. The only other thing I wanted to bring up because it just came up. I just saw this literally before we went to do the show. And I was like, holy moly. This from, hold on, I'm trying to pull it up right now. Forgive me, guys. Here it is. This is from Deadline. It's an exclusive. So, I guess there was a movie that Universal was doing called Red Notice. And it's now going to be on Netflix instead. And my understanding is... Initially, the movie was starring The Rock and Gal Gadot.
Ooh.
And now they've added Ryan Reynolds to this movie.
Wow.
So it's The Rock, Gal Gadot. So it's The Rock, Wonder Woman, and Ryan Reynolds.
And it's going to Netflix.
It's going to be on Netflix. It's the most expensive movie, supposedly. They are here. Let me pull up this article. I'm trying to do it right now while we're talking.
What is this? What kind of movie is this?
And it's like it's supposedly they're calling it. Here, hold on, I'm grabbing it.
Sounds like.
Have you ever heard of a movie? It's called Red Notice, and it's going to be directed by somebody named Rawson Marshall Thurber. It doesn't ring a bell to me, the name. They're calling it a global heist film. Apparently this was supposed to be being released by Universal at some point in 2020, and they kind of decided, nope, we're gonna opt out of it, and then I guess the number two, Netflix was the next highest bidder, and they went back to Netflix, and Netflix is like, yep, let's do it. So they're going to start production in 2020. It's they call it a film of a globe-trotting action heist thriller. And apparently it was originally just Gal Gadot and The Rock, but now they've added Ryan Reynolds to this too.
Oh, it's just Netflix competing with the studios.
Yeah, well, I gotta be honest. Most of the time when I see that they got stuff, I'm like, man.
I was like,
maybe,
what was the
I
name
don't
of that
know.
movie that won all those Oscars?
Oh, yeah.
Was that the foreign film?
Yeah, that they only showed in the theaters
Was
like
it
a little
Rosa?
bit.
Or exactly, it had like the technicality. It was in a theaters for a week, but it was available for streaming on Netflix.
And everybody was all mad because Spielberg's like the only one who agrees with me on like that's BS, and everybody else is like, "What's the big deal? A movie's a movie." I'm like,
no, it was. They caught it on a technicality.
Yeah, and I have a feeling they're going to do that again too. By the way,
Oh, okay. Well, let's see if Netflix can. Netflix has had a lot of original content that's been very successful and very popular. So
yeah, so they're talking about a $20 million salary for The Rock.
Whew.
And they're talking about an 8-figure deal for this guy Thurber. I guess he directed The Rock in Central Intelligence and Skyscraper. I've seen both movies. Skyscraper was not bad. Central Intelligence was the movie the buddy movie that he did with Kevin Hart.
Yeah, it was okay.
That was pretty good.
And speaking of which, we saw the sequel to Jumanji with Kevin Hart and The Rock back again. Jack Black. Okay, so we got that for next year, November next year.
Yeah, no, like I said, I saw that. I'm like, holy cow. And I didn't recognize who the woman was in the picture. And then I'm like reading, I'm like, whoa. The Rock, Wonder Woman, and Deadpool are all in the same movie. Holy moly.
Oh, and finally, I can see a movie without having to see the trailer for fucking Calvin and Hobbes or whatever the fuck movie that this Jason Statham Rock movie I've been seeing trailers for all fucking summer. So finally, the movie's coming out. I finally see it.
Calvin and Hobbes?
No, that was
Hobbes
and whatever the
Hobbes and Shaw.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Hobbes and Shaw.
Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes. There's a movie?
Calvin and Hobbes.
No, I'm sorry to dash your hopes, Ivan, but no.
Oh man, shit.
Speaking of shit,
we got shit. We gotta go.
We got shit to do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get to the shit.
Well, actually, Mike, how do they get a hold of us if they want to add stuff to the show or talk to us or figure all this out?
Yeah, tell them.
Why, thank you, Ivan. I think I will. We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRPT. Let me start that over again. We're on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We're on Podbean and Anchor. Download the free apps, and you can listen wherever your mobile device will take you. We're on YouTube. Click the bell, subscribe. You'll know when new episodes drop. And, of course, drop us an email on the email address if you got one of those thingies. SOTRTpodcast@gmail.com. And follow us on Facebook. We get all our crazy stories. Our sister show, News of the Squared, drops later in the week. Shout out to Scott, as usual.
What?
For awesome content, and thank you for listening. Episode 59 of Squares of the Round Table.
The episode that's the same age that will be me in August.
59?
Yeah.
Wow. It's like, that's a number that's like an actual number.
Yeah. And it's my age, too, coming up. Woo, woo.
Ivan, you have a birthday coming up?
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me know. All right. You can send gifts to the following post office box if you want to send Ivan a birthday present.
Yeah.
All right, later, folks. See you next week. Thanks for listening in on
Thanks
us.
for hanging out. Bye for now.
Spider-Man's a menace.